Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Alamo Vaudeville on Air. I am your host, Ashton Holloway, and today we have a very special guest. We have the Vice President of the Ancira Auto Group, and ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for April Ancira. April, how are you doing today, ma'am?
I am so good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, ma'am. No, thank you very much for being here. I greatly appreciate your time, and I'm really excited to get in to your story and how you broke into the business. So let's kind of start from the beginning, though. How was it being raised in San Antonio, and how did you get your start in the industry?
Yeah, being raised in San Antonio, my dad was pretty ingrained in the community. He has been since he started his business downtown on Martin and Flores in 1972. He was
Hmm.
involved in Ray Feo and Fiesta stuff and other nonprofits like United Way, chairman of the the Valero Alamo Bowl. So he was really already involved in San Antonio. So to feel that familia vibe here, I knew that it's possible I might want to stick around. But to be honest, I didn't know I was going to end up in the car business. Not at all. I actually started when I was 16 years old, just wanting a couple of extra bucks to buy some
Uh,
clothes. So I asked my dad for, a summer job, and I did. I was maybe like worst employee. I was a cashier and an operator, mixing up phone calls. But that's probably why he paid me 4.25 an hour. I was the only employee on minimum wage, the only
oh,
one. Yeah. So other folks can't complain about what they're getting at Ancira, but I did. So actually, after 3 years of working for him in the summer, I left to go wait tables at Chili's.
oh,
Best job
wow.
ever. Had a blast. You could learn so much in waiting tables about customer service, unhappy people, happy people that leave you a zero tip, and what you're going to do about
Mm.
it. And you have to just keep going. Yeah.
Oh, my
So
God.
yeah, I stayed in town for a boy. Like I did everything wrong growing up, right?
Yeah.
I picked Trinity University because I felt like, okay, this is a really great institution. Certainly I can learn a lot. It's well thought of. And I applied there knowing I wanted to get into marketing.
Hmm.
But they didn't really even have a business school at the time. So I don't know. I didn't care. I didn't pay attention. I stayed for a guy, which I promptly broke up with within like, I don't know, just a few months going in. And that's usually how it works. I wanted to be in the advertising industry at that time. That's what spoke to me. My dad said, well, I'm not going to pay or help with your education unless you also do finance or accounting. Those are very
Hmm.
important. So I said, okay, I'll put finance as an additional major. Well, then I fell in love with the stock market. And my dad's cousin had a lot of ties in the banking industry, and my senior year at Trinity was setting up a interview with Smith Barney. So that was to happen around October of my senior year.
Hmm.
Now my senior year was 9/11. So the Wall Street no longer existed for all intensive purposes at that time. People certainly weren't hiring on Wall Street. It was it was a very low moment for the country. That we certainly rallied and came back from. But so I decided, okay, I'm going to go get my master's degree and make myself more valuable on paper, at least by the time I try to get into the industry. And
Hmm.
so I went to UTSA for my master's degree in business. But I asked my dad if I could sell cars that summer. And I was like, listen, I'm going to be selling stocks. I just want to get the vibe of what selling is like. Sold my first four cars in 3 days and I was done. That's it. I never looked back. I didn't even
Wow.
bother with anything else. I was like, oh, this is what it's like. And I believe that gentleman, Patrick Karam, was my first customer's name. He said, I've never had such a great car buying experience. He's like, I'm coming back, and then kept referring people. And that's when I knew I wanted to help change the industry, or at least how people felt about buying a car, which is not always positive, and it should be. It's really fun to buy a new car.
Hmm.
And that's it. That was the beginning. It's a long
That's
origin
great.
story, right?
Oh no, yeah. I mean, it's great to see that you've made it from the bottom all the way up now to vice president and seeing how far you've come within your journey. And I know that you also studied in marketing and finance while you were going to the university as well. Now, I am very much trying to get myself into the marketing business as well. It's something that I've had a lot of passion in over the last few years. So, as somebody that's aspiring to kind of get into that line of business as well, what advice could you give to somebody that's trying to work in marketing and finance right now?
Uh, well, I mean, a lot of people who graduate from college or university, I mean, for a while they were expecting management jobs immediately. Okay, I've graduated. Where are you going to put me? And the unfortunate part is they always want experience before you get in any management job. So not just the education. So
Mhm.
the sooner you know, the better. So if you can start at 16, if you can start at 18, don't wait until you're graduating to at least maybe work for a television station, maybe work for print. For these are times when maybe, if especially if you're 16, you're not having to pay rent, right, or have a whole
Mhm.
family to support. Hopefully, at those times, so you can afford to start at the bottom to learn. So I would say get your foot in the door with an internship. If you really can, I would say a marketing agency. Those are really hard to get, but if you can find a marketing agency, that's the way to go. And start as young as you can. The problem with marketing is I found a lot of people doing this. Well, I'm in marketing, and they get out and they put that on their resume. Then they get
Mhm.
hired by, say, a news station or a paper or a magazine. Well, this marketing degree that they think they're going to be using for creativity and ad placement and things of that nature, or maybe even type of product. Um,
Mhm.
that's not what happens. They end up being in sales, right? And that's like maybe a piece of marketing, but that's not what they thought of when they thought of marketing. And it happens every time. They end up,
Mhm.
okay, now I need you to sell ads in the newspaper. I need you to sell ads on TV station. And this isn't at all what they thought of when they got their marketing degree. At least I didn't. I thought, okay, here I am in the creative end, and I'm going to be developing content, not selling people content, which is really hard for a marketer to do. Is sell content as opposed to creation of the content. And so that's where getting in early or sooner really helps you and helps you avoid the pitfall of ending up in a sales job. But not to
Mhm.
say that a sales job is bad. That's what I do, and it's what I love. But as long as it aligns with what you're into.
Yeah, no, I've had some pretty bad sales jobs too. I used to work at Cons Home Plus when I was like 18. So
Right.
that was like really rough, right? But now I'm selling insurance with USAA. I'm working in auto and homeowners. So it's been a
Oh, great.
grateful experience. So that's like what I do day to day, right? But on the side, I'm trying to get into business and marketing and then obviously work in like music and entertainment, trying to get my foot in the door there. And then obviously now podcasting, working in the entertainment world. And
Sure.
as I was doing my research, I saw that you're also a board member of the Tobin Center. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is one of the nonprofits that I sit on the board with. And after our podcast, that's actually the meeting I'm hopping onto.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a busy day for sure. But what does the day to day look like being a board member? Or kind of run me through how that operation works.
We're not selling you a taco at Rex. We're selling you a dream. Your quinceanera you're going to do, your wedding, your formal event. We understand your thought process. And when you walk into a big box store, you may see somebody who you will never see again 2 months later. We have consistency with our employees here at Rex, and we strive to give you excellent customer service and the new styles, the slim fits, the unique item that you're looking for.
So when you're on a board like the Tobin, one, they require you to make an annual investment. So that's something that you'll see for every board, and it varies. Some local boards, it's 3,500 up to $10,000 annually. Typically, it's give or get, which means I don't have to just stroke a check for say 10 grand. I can find two people to buy two $5,000 tables to their gala, and then it's taken care of. So that's the first thing you do when you're on a board. The second is there's several committees, and This year, I'm in charge of one. I'm in charge of the communications committee. So you'll end up having 3 meetings quarterly. So my communications committee will end up talking about marketing and do we have everything placed right on the right billboards? Is it airing on TV at the right time? Do we need to change our logos? And we do that for 2 sections. The one where it's all the shows that everybody's entertained by. Fluffy's coming into town. What do we need to do to promote that? Or is he self-promoting? Maybe he's doing it himself. And then there's the other one where we have the nonprofit side, where we're the house to all our local arts, our ballet, our opera, our children's choir. Our kids have a symphony as well, the adult symphony, which is CMI, Classical Music Institute. And so we promised to provide a minimum amount of days, which is actually a lot, for them to perform in the Tobin Center for a discounted amount. So they're guaranteed there to be able to entertain San Antonio. Also, Generation Next, which provides education for teachers in order for them to be able to teach arts in their classrooms. That's another thing that the Tobin provides. And Charlie Seats. So we have Charlie Seats, which issues free seating or discounted seating to a number of groups: military, teachers, first responders, those that have SNAP, students from pre-K all the way to college students. So how are we marketing and communicating that? Because that's actually a little bit harder than saying, come see and laugh your behind off at Gabriel Iglesias. So after that meeting, then you have your executive meeting with all the committee chairs. And after that meeting, you have your general board meeting. And that's it. And then you participate in galas and fundraisers and things of that nature. So that's kind of what you do on a board.
That's awesome. And, I know, especially with the marketing aspect, things have changed so much from the way they used to be to now. It's like digital media has taken over now to where that aspect is way more important now compared to how it was back then, maybe let's say 15, 20 years ago, right? And I mean, I kind of want to touch back into Ancira now, right?
Yeah.
Like, how has the auto industry changed from then to now?
Yeah. So back in the day, the only way to compare a price was you grab like a newspaper. Let's go to the 80s. You grab like a newspaper, you check out everybody's deals on there, and then you start shopping, right? You're like, I'm going to go to this store, and then I'm going to go to the next store and see if they'll beat the deal. And of course, how you're treated is important. Now you just sit in your PJs, you scour the cars online. You don't have to visit multiple sites. You can do the negotiation all on your computer. So it's not a whole bunch of time invested in going back and forth. So that's some of it. We can do the entire thing online, actually. You don't have to come into a dealership, and we can deliver to you. Yeah. The funny thing, that was very interesting during COVID, though. Prior to COVID, I came up with all these billboards like, ding dong, your car is at your door. I was like, everybody wants Amazon. They're going to want to Amazon your car. And it just bombed, failed. Nobody took advantage of it. So when COVID rolled around, I was like, here we go. We're so prepared. I knew it was coming. Just didn't know what form. So I thought everybody was going to want, we delivered maybe 1 or 2 cars a month to people's houses. The rest, everybody wanted to come in. They wanted to touch, feel, drive it. I was shocked. So there's still a desire to come in and see the car. That being said, prior to this, back marketing, you'd run it on radio or TV, and you were never sure. You knew marketing was working, but you don't know what marketing was working. As a matter of fact, a long time ago, we pulled out of the paper. It used to be 2 papers in San Antonio. One paper bought the other, but they didn't double their price. They quadrupled their price. So we're like, well, we're out of the paper until the prices become more reasonable. On our advertisements on TV, we said, you won't find us in the paper because it's a big deal then. Hired a large marketing firm. They did all these studies. 30% of our buyers said they came in because they saw us in the paper. Wow. And we weren't in the paper. And you're never sure because these people had seen us in the paper so long. Maybe they thought they saw something in the paper. It was real to them. I'm not calling anybody a liar. It's just really hard how the brain works and remembers. But now, when it comes to the internet, now it's a little more quantifiable. Did somebody click on my link? Did somebody scan my QR code? What site did they visit and how did they get here? and now it's converted into an email or a lead, and now we can trace it all the way to the end. So now you can start seeing, okay, what marketing is working. So that is kind of a benefit, but the competition is higher, which makes it more difficult. So you kind of have to weigh it. There's a lot that's, it's not as expensive to advertise on the internet. Facebook is not as expensive. Pay to click isn't expensive, but now we have all of this AI generated stuff, where it's grabbing people that aren't even clicking on our stuff and finding out where they are. It's kind of creepy. And then blasting them a follow-up mailer on maybe they're looking at a Ram truck, never engage with us on there. 2 days later, they get a deal on a Ram truck in their mail. I don't know, kind of creepy, but that's where marketing is, right? And then the OTT, they call it, over the top. So you're watching your favorite Amazon show, but you're not paying for the super premium level. So guess what? An ad with my face pops in right there. Boom. And since you're not paying that premium level, there's no fast forwarding me away. You have to live with me.
Oh my God.
Or you can go away and go get a drink and come back. So those are the new things that I didn't grow up with, but this generation has grown up with. And outside of that, I find that people are more engaged with personalities than brick and mortar. So our store, as hard as we try to embed personalities into our stores, like here's the GM, here's the GSM, they're doing funny things, please engage with us. And it's kind of, we found that, okay, no, people identify with the person who happens to sell there instead of where it's selling and the people there. So it's interesting on social media. You kind of want to be more personable than business wise, at least.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I know obviously back in the days you guys had the commercials that everybody grew up watching, right? And so you guys have kind of become synonymous for that specifically. But whose idea was it to have your family in those commercials that we all grew up watching?
Yeah. So originally my dad and my mom did the commercials, and they did not want to exploit their children. So my sister and I were not in the commercials. We were on maybe 1 or 2 holiday ones. My dad ran for public office when I was in middle school, so we were in those. It wasn't really until I was in my 20s when I was working full-time at Ancira, early 20s, 23, 24, that I was in my first full commercial that was just me. And it was on the advice of a new marketing group we had at the time, actually. Excuse me. But yeah, so we did that. And then we ended up having so many stores, we started using different family members to give each store an identity, because people would associate Chevy with my dad, his first store. Now we have 14 stores. How are we going to differentiate them? They don't want my dad to pop up on a Nissan commercial and people saying Chevy. So we started dividing up where we were doing them. But then I was pregnant with my first son, and some people were like, no, you don't need to be pregnant on TV. Believe it or not, we're in the late 2000s, 2009, 2010. Don't do that. It won't be a good look. And then we had friends, no, this is a family friendly one. You should go on there. And we're known for corny stuff. And they're like, you should be like, we have new deliveries on the way. And then once he popped out, people are going to wonder where the baby is. And so when he arrived, I was like, we have new deliveries on the lot, and then people were like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. So when I had my daughter, my husband was general manager of our Nissan store. He goes, well, I get her. And he used her in the Nissan stores. I used my son on the CJDR store, Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. My mom was doing Kia. The only time we went away from that of everybody identifying a certain store was during COVID. So COVID came, nobody's going out, nobody filmed. Okay, just April and Jason, my husband, green screen. And it was so crazy that our ad group that did the filming cut a hole through the wall, and he stuck his camera through the wall so he could film on the other side of the wall. So he wasn't, this is the very beginning of COVID where everybody's like, don't even come close to me. And there was a green screen behind us. He's filming behind a wall. And then it was just the two of us or my kids, right? Because so now we film a whole bunch of just different little commercials but it's just us uh, with my kids up until recently because my daughter's opted out. She's 12 and
Hmm.
difficult, which is for that age group. And so that's how it's been. And people are like, this is great. It's like reality commercials. We saw your son when he was born. Now he's 15 and has a driver's permit. So I guess San Antonio's watched my kids grow up. My daughter's not happy about it now, but
Well, you guys have been a huge staple in San Antonio for the last 20 years. It's crazy to see how much the business have grown and how much of an impact you have made on the community, and even working with UTSA and all the roles that you've been playing over there. But like, let's talk maybe like women that want to break into the industry, right? I mean, obviously you see like the stereotypical people want to talk to the man type of deal, right? But now with the way that the world is, it feels like everybody is maybe in a more compassionate position to where like women that want to break into the industry probably have a better opportunity of being in the industry, right? So for you, being somebody who's been in the industry for so long, what advice could you give to maybe, let's say, a young woman that wants to break into the industry right now?
honestly, it is easier these days, and there's a lot of people in San Antonio in general that just pave the way. And like we have a Jane Macon, we have Rosemary Kowalski, we have Lila Cockrell, the first female mayor. All those ladies, man, they broke the barrier for a lot of us, at least here in San Antonio. And there's plenty of those examples around the nation. My dad actually had the first female general manager in San Antonio. And so for me, there was nothing I was told I couldn't do growing up. And my dad, he's a Hispanic guy who grew up in Mexico City. And I'm saying this because it reflected on how my view was as I entered the industry. And so he came in, and he ended up being the first Hispanic, and at the time they said Mexican, because this is back in 1972. Hispanic was new. He became the first Mexican to own a Chevy store in the United States. There was a big push for that in San Antonio. And back then, San Antonio, believe it or not, was more like 30-70, 30% Hispanic, 70% Caucasian, right? So unlike now where it's like 60% Hispanic, right? Far more Hispanics. But people asked him, they were like, hey, how did you do it as a Hispanic? With all these barriers to entry for you because of your cultural background, who you are. And he's like, and he jokes, he says, I didn't know I was Hispanic. I didn't know I was Mexican. And the joke is because he spent so much time growing up in Mexico that they didn't treat him any different growing up there or being involved in business there. And then he became involved in business here, Gillette, Kimberly-Clark, or whatever. But because of where he grew up, it was, oh, well, there's barriers to entry for everybody. There's problems for everybody. This is over, around, or through, right? And I think it made it harder to recognize anything if there was something that came along. Well, is it because I'm Mexican? I don't think was necessarily a thought. It was like, oh, here's a problem, over, under, through, or around. But and he became the first guy to do a buy-sell agreement. Nobody else did that in the applications, put an efficiency right next to GM's headquarters, knocked on the doors every day, got a loan from the bank that was a bridge loan enough until the purchase was completed, ate Snickers bars and an efficiency, did the whole American dream thing, sold everything just to do this. Well, I'm hearing these stories. I'm seeing this example. And I have to tell you, I joke too. Well, I didn't know I was a female. Then usually if I'm giving a speech, I look down and I'm like, okay, obviously I'm a female. But I didn't see anything directly that was sexist. There may have been maybe one time, but it was outside the car business and it was a politician, right? But inside the car business, I just did stuff. I just did it. I called people up. I had no fear about taking a next step or trying to solve an issue. And I just kept going. And every time I did something, it would be recognized by somebody else in the auto industry, and I would get tapped for a role, maybe within our San Antonio Association. hey, you seem like you don't have any fear. You're open to, and I'm kind of an introvert, to be honest. So this is totally weird. Would you like to be in our local association? Your job is to tell all the good things about auto dealers, how many people you employ, what you do in the community, and you tell that to all the politicians. When an issue comes up, then you make a plea on our behalf as auto dealers to resolve that issue. Oh, okay, sure. Well, before you know it, like, I'm 36 and I'm chairman of that association. And they're like, hey, you're doing a good job here. Why don't you be on the board of the Texas Association, 1,400 dealers? Before you know it, I'm the chairman of that association. And that's 1,400 dealers I'm representing in Austin. But there'd be politicians that they were like, we can't get a hold of this guy, so we're probably not going to have a meeting. I was like, well, let me see. Reached out to the guy on Facebook and DM, and he's like, sure, let's set up a meeting. And I'm like, all right, great. Like, just whatever.
Yeah.
But the one in the very beginning so this might be a good tip for a female that is coming up against maybe some pushback. This one politician, I did not bring my father with me to the meeting. Where's your dad? And I was like, oh, he's got the flu. Don't worry. I'm the chairman this year. I've got all the fun facts you need to know about the car business. We can work together, blah, 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 blah. He's like, nope. You need to come back with your dad. I was like, he's retired. He's basically retired. He shows up to the office every day from 10 to 2. I was like, don't worry about it. He's living La Vida Loca. I've got this. And he's like, he stood by the door and he would not sit down. He would not sit down. And I was like, listen. And I was like, we can talk. And I had a seat in front of his desk. And I saw this cute little picture in the back. And I was like, oh, is that your granddaughter? Because my daughter's about that age. And I was like, he's like, yeah. And I was like, where does she go to school? Blah, blah, blah. I don't even remember what we talked about. But he grabs it, starts talking about it. Before you know it, we're having a normal conversation, not even about cars. He sits down. We start chatting. And then we get into some car business. And to be honest, now he doesn't even talk to my dad. We talk all the time. That's it. Like it's just about diffusing a situation or being friendly or I don't know. I've had other times where people have been jerks. Maybe even at City Hall, where I had an entire meeting with a deputy city manager. And at the end of the meeting goes, and what is your name again? And I was like, are you serious? We were here talking about cars. I'm chairman of the Auto Association for San Antonio. Now you're asking me. I was like, April Ancira. And where do you work? At Ancira Auto Group. And he goes, and in what capacity? And I was like, are you kidding me? But I'm not saying, are you kidding me? I'm like, I'm vice president of operations. And I'm like, the president of the association, I'm the chairman, president. Is like, what on earth? So he leaves the room and I tell her, I'm like, Pam, we might lose this one, but we're going down swinging. And sure enough, the first person we met with was the new mayor right after, who was council person when we made the appointment, but then was appointed mayor. We told her all about this. This is going on, this going on. This is ridiculous. She goes, we're going to squash this right now. And she went to a meeting and squashed it. And that was like less than 24 hours. And the whole thing was dead. And I was like, I knew it. Yes. So the whole thing, yeah. So, I mean, that's it. That's it for being a woman. Like, you can't get insulted. Just go. Just, over, around, or through, or under, as I said earlier. You can go, I don't know, dig a hole underneath. But that's just it. Keep your eye on the prize and just keep going, keep going, keep going. Don't get flustered. Just keep going.
Well, thank you for that. And I'm sure somebody listening will definitely take a piece of advice from what you just said. And once again, it's a pleasure to sit down and be able to have this time with you and seeing how much you've accomplished. It's so great. But as we're coming into 2025, we got half a year left. What more would you like to accomplish in 2025 before the year ends?
Oh, I think we've done so. We acquired 2 stores, in the last year and a half, one in Cuero and one in Killeen. And it's a pretty big heavy lift just to buy the store, then to transition the store underneath you, and then to make sure they're following your philosophies and views. So I don't think we want to add anymore. We just had a big marketing launch with UTSA. The field now is Ancira logo on it. That was way more than we've ever spent for a sponsorship agreement with anyone on that level. So I think we're done with anything lofty and large. I think right now we just need to fine tune our new teammates in the 2 new stores, make sure everybody's operating at full speed, to make sure everybody that is at Ancira right now is loved, since we've been distracted a little bit by these new acquisitions. So we got to make sure while we've been acquiring these stores that we're not neglecting any other stores, which is a tough balance. And with this new large marketing initiative, we're probably going to do normal stuff going forward with what we normally do with marketing, and just get into some fine tuning. And then once we're smooth sailing again, we'll probably look at, well, is it time to add another store? Do we do another big launch? My dream is to get to a place where, and we donate a lot, but I want that bottom line number, maintaining the percentage we do, but I want it to equal $1 million a year. I want to be able to give away $1 million a year. So we kind of have a path of, okay, that means we need another store here. We need to make more money here, so it makes more sense on the bottom line. So my growth is all around the involvement in the community. So that's the long-term plan.
That's awesome. And thank you so much again. And once again, congratulations on everything. You have been such a huge piece of the community out in San Antonio. So it's really awesome to just see everything and where you are now. And I guarantee you guys got a lot more coming in the next few years. So just keep working on your craft and keep doing what you do. And I got one last question that I love to ask every guest. So I'm going to ask you now as well. If you can just name 3 things that you are grateful for right now.
Family, for sure. Right. Everybody, I'm really lucky. I have both my parents. I have 2 kids that are healthy and funny. And my parents were always there for me. I have a terrific business partner, my husband, who says they get along with their business partner and spouse. That's not easy to do. So it gets a little bit tense sometimes, but we try to stay in our lanes. So I'm grateful for family, for sure. The second thing is the team I have at Ancira. I could not be involved with the community in any capacity or do the things I do without the folks on the ground, the 850 people we have doing what they do every day. There would be no money generated. There would be no time available to be able to go out and be as involved as we are. Even my way of life is thanks to them. They are phenomenal individuals, phenomenal, and massive amounts of tenure. The most difficult part about any promotion at Ancira is because everybody stays so long. So it's, what do? Oh, I have to open up another store because nobody's leaving. It's fantastic. Good problem to have. Third, the city I live in, right? I love San Antonio. I love the vibe here. I love the people here. I love engaging with them. And I mean, by that, my family over at UTSA, my family over at Trinity, the family at the nonprofits that we talk to, my friends that are even down at City Hall. I do have friends at City Hall. I do have friends in the Capitol. Not all the time. Some of them don't remember my name, but the ones that I do, you can tell they really, really care. But so it's really, community is just, it's so great to live in this city. It's just everything's so family.
That's awesome, April. And once again, thanks for all your time today. I know we will definitely keep in touch, and I'm so grateful for everything that you've given me today. I've learned so much about your journey and your career, and I want to say thank you again. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another edition of Alamo Vaudeville on Air. I am Ashton Holloway, and we will see you guys next time.